Right, guys. I'm going to talk through it's going to be a quick video. This because it's a very small mechanic, very interesting mechanic. I do like the mechanic, to be fair, but it's not particularly difficult, and yeah, you'll see. So I'm going to just show you some anti-gravity anyway. I just think it's quite cool. All I've done on the scene really is change this. I've got a box here, which is a trigger. As you see, I've just changed it. I've put the trigger box, the switch for the platform that we set up over there, up here. I just think, well, we can set this up to be functional and work. So the idea is when the ball comes into this green box, gravity switches, it goes up. When it leaves the green box, gravity comes back to normal. And we've got to be clever and careful with this, because what you're doing is you're essentially setting a default. It's not the gravity acting on the ball, it's the gravity in the scene that you're changing. So if you die while you're in the green box and you don't set it up properly, then when you respawn or whatever happens, there's a good chance that gravity might not return to normal. So you've got to be clever with it. I'll talk you through it anyway. It's quite simple. So to start with, I'm just going to, as I say, I've got this green box here. I'm just going to put gravity switcher. I'm going to call it that. Put it into the functional assets because, yeah, again, it's a functional asset. I'm going to set up a new tag for this because that's how we're kind of doing everything. Yeah, the ball colliding with stuff is very important. So I'm just going to tag this as anti-gravity. I'm going to make sure I copy that because I'm going to use that in a minute in the ball controller. I'm going to make sure as well that the gravity switcher is tagged like that. So as you can see, I've got a box collider with it that says a trigger, and the mesh render has just got this green material on it. So that's mainly it for what we need to set up in here. So now I'm going to jump straight into the ball controller, which we've added a few things to the ball controller. So yeah, that's all that's changed, and this is what we're doing now. So yeah, we're going to set up another one of these if statements for on trigger enter. So I'm just going to get one I've already used, copy that, remove that, and just switch out the I keep copying it and then copying something else. Yeah, switch out what it says in there. Make sure the spelling of it's exactly the same. So we've gone to gravity switcher, yeah. Obviously capitalization is important as well. That's mainly what I was checking there. So yeah, gravity. It's easy enough to do, to be honest. You just need to understand a little bit of basic physics, but I'm going to talk you through that anyway. So the line is fairly simple. It's the word physics dot gravity, so we're referencing the gravity that's applied to anything with a rigid body in the scene. This is why we've got to be careful. If you apply a rigid body to anything else, that will also have a gravity switcher attached to it and all that kind of fun stuff. If your ball goes into the anti-gravity thing, it'll switch the gravity in the scene, not just on the ball. So bear that in mind. So yeah, we're just setting the gravity. So new vector 3, gravity's down as a vector 3. Just because it acts on the X, Y, and Z axis. So it's 0. This is where it's interesting. You would think it's going to be like, oh, it's going to be -1, or, you know, gravity acts down, so gravity is already a minus number. So it's going to be a plus number. But the number that people think it's going to be is, oh, well, gravity switches to 1. Well, it's not the case, because gravity isn't 1. Gravity is 9.81, and it's a float variable. And it's to do with actual real life physics, and that's the force of the earth and all that kind of fun stuff. But yeah, so that's what I've set. I've set that as soon as I hit that anti-gravity thing, the gravity in the game will switch. I'm going to show you it working, and then I'm going to show you how to set it up to stop it when you come out, because as it currently stands, you go into the box, the gravity switches, it never switches back. So hopefully this should work. So there we go. There's the anti-gravity working. As I said, we need to switch it back. But, you know, it's a good start so far. So if we open up this again, what we need to do is we need to set up a new function. So we've got this current on trigger enter. Make sure to put this in the right place, because I put all this space in here, but it needs to be underneath here. So this is going to be another void. And the one we've just been using is an on trigger enter. So educated guess, you could probably guess it's going to be on trigger exit. So same again, collider. Other is what I want to refer to it as, and let's see. So I'm going to grab this again that we've just used, copy it into there. But the difference is that I'm going to do that. So now it's back to minus. And the one last little thing I'm going to do, and this doesn't really need to happen, this is just to make things safe, is at the start of the scene, I'm going to set the gravity. So that, say for instance, we do die while we're in the anti-gravity zone, it'll set it as soon as we spawn again. And that's it essentially. You'll see now. Let me go in here. So the way this, as I said, the way this should work, I will go over here, I will go into this box, I will fly up. As soon as I'm out of the box, the gravity kicks back in again. See? And then we can do things like get to this trigger. You know, we've got the gravity in there again, but we're out of it. As soon as we're out of it, it switches back. So very, as I say, very short video. It's not even like 7 minutes, like 6-minute video, whatever it is. But very simple mechanic, anti-gravity. You can tweak the gravity if you want. I'm just going for kind of like a more realistic gravity. So if you want it to come down soon or you want it to fly up quicker, you can change that in that setting we put in when it was like 9.81. But yeah, there we go. That's anti-gravity, and that's how we use it, and that's just an interesting way of showing how that does it. Also, take note of the fact that the camera followed that up to the top and all that kind of stuff. So the camera follower is still working very well as well. But yeah, cheers for that, guys.